Hi, I'm Christine from Christine's Home Affairs, and this is my beautiful assistant and model, Earl. Earl's the one that's going to be showing off how good these masks look. So these are 3 layered masks. What I do is 2 layers of cotton fabric and 1 layer of a showerproof fabric, which I'll grab. So this is a cotton and polyester fabric, completely machine washable, and I use that and it can go in the dryer as well, and I've been using this inside my latest masks. I do pleated masks as well, so if you'd like to know how to do those, you can watch one of my other YouTube videos, and the link for that is just up the top there. But today we're going to show you how to do, Earl doesn't sew, that's me. Today I'm going to show you how to make these boat style masks. So stick around and we'll get some masks made. We don't need much to make these masks. We want 2 layers of cotton fabric. So it doesn't matter if they're not the same on the back and front, you can use whatever you like. So we've got 2 pieces of cotton, which is cut at 10.5 inches by 7 inches. And we've got 1 piece of centre fabric, which can also be cotton if that's all you've got, and that is also cut at 10.5 inches by 7 inches. And we want 2 pieces of elastic at 6.5 inches. That's all we need. Hang around and I'll show you what to do. The first thing we're doing here is cutting the corners. So I've got my 2 pieces of cotton fabric and my inner piece of fabric. We want to cut the corners off this now, and all we're going to do is cut 2 inches off each corner. Now there's a couple of ways you can go about this. You can get your ruler and find your 2-inch mark, make a mark here, come down and make another mark, and then you'll cut straight across here. Okay, so if you haven't got a rotary cutting mat here with the lines on it, you can just mark your 2 inches and then just chop all the corners off in one go. What I like to do is just find my markers on here. So I've got 1 inch, there's 1 inch, 2 inches, 1 inch here, and up to 2 inches. And I'm just going to line my ruler up with the corner there and take my rotary cutter and chop these off all at once. Saves a little bit of time. Turn your fabric around. Do the same for the next corner. Remember to keep your fingers out of the way. The blade's pretty sharp. And keep on going until you've done all 4 corners. Okay, so we've got 3 layers of fabric all ready to be sewn together. What we want to do now is make sure our main fabric is facing right side together. So we want the print facing each other, and we want to insert some elastic here now. Now our elastic is, I think, 6.5 inches. Yep. So the elastic is 6.5 inches, and it's just a 6mm elastic. I like to use this one because the narrow ones probably cut into your ears a little bit. So these just give a little bit more stability. So on 1 layer of the cotton, put your elastic, keeping it flat, bring it around and place a clip down to hold the elastic in place. We can turn this around and do the same for the other side. Grab your other 6.5 inch piece of elastic and just place that on the edge of your fabric. Now this is probably only about 1/2 inch or 1 centimetre away from the corner. Okay, so we can take this to the machine, and what we're going to do now, put all the 3 layers together neatly. We're going to start from here, do a back stitch, stitch all the way down, all the way around, enclosing the elastic, coming all the way around, back around until we get to the top here. Do a back stitch there, and we want to leave an opening just here. So we'll go and do that at the machine now. Okay, we're ready to stitch this closed. So you'll notice that I've actually got a nice blue fabric this time. That's because I forgot to hit record before. So we're going to start stitching along here and leave an opening at the top edge as well. So we just want to come in a few inches from the corner, and all I'm doing is using the edge of my presser foot as a guide. So we've got the edge of the fabric here running along the edge of the presser foot. Back stitch, stitch to the edge almost, pivot your work, sew all the way down. Now as you come to where the elastic is, I just like to keep my fingers holding it in place. Turn around and stitch the elastic down. When we turn this through, we'll end up doing a top stitch, which will secure that down even more. And all the way around until you've come to the other side. Now we're at the top edge again. So we just want to come down a couple of inches, and we'll leave that much space for an opening to turn the work through. And back stitch. And we'll turn that through. Alright, now that we've sewn the 3 layers together and left a little bit of an opening to turn everything through, we'll just trim the corners. So where it comes to a point here, we'll just trim that close to the edge, just so that we don't have too much bulk when we turn this through. Oops. So we'll do that on all of the corners. And we'll turn all 3 layers through. Pull on the elastic and just poke the corners out with your fingers. Flatten it out, and this is now ready to be top stitched. So all we want to do is take it to the machine, fold these edges under, and we'll close this up and stitch all the way around and do a top stitch. We'll do that now. So we're going to do a top stitch all the way around. Now I like to use the inside edge of my foot as my guide, so it's probably around about 1/8 of an inch. And I'll just sew all the way around, top stitch and close the top edge. And as I come around to the side where the elastic is, that'll just secure that in place again. And that's it. This has been top stitched all the way around, and what that's done is closed off that area that we'd left open for turning through, and it's also just secured the elastic down a little bit more. Okay, and that's why we didn't need to double stitch when we were doing the elastic earlier. So what we need to do now is fold this up, and I have this handy little tool. You can use this for ironing, it's by Clover, but I use this as my marker. So I'll just lay this down over the top of my mask, and I want to bring it up to that 4 centimetre line. So it's about 1.5 inches roughly. There's no hard and fast rule for this, it's just going to change a little bit the size of the mask, but about 4 centimetres or just over 1.5 inches. Grab a clip, take that out, and we'll do the same for the other side. Fold the flap over to 4 centimetres, some more clips, and we'll take this to the machine, and all we're going to do now is stitch from the top end all the way down, just about 1/8 of an inch all the way down the side on both of those sides there. Okay, now what we're going to do is secure the folded flaps over. So we've got our 4 centimetres over, and we just want to do the same thing, about 1/8 of an inch all the way down. Make sure your elastic's out of the way. Backstitch all the way to the end. And backstitch. Now you don't have to go all the way to the very end. It gets a little bit bulky down the top end there, so just a little better, half an inch toward the end is enough. And we'll do the same for the other side. Now that we've stitched those 2 flaps down, we're ready to give this a little bit more shape. What we need to do now is raise that flap, but we want to turn it just a little bit. So we want this to look like the letter N. I'll just clip that down and show you. So by having the fold going straight up, we come straight down, you've got the diagonal, and then it comes straight back down again. And you can see how this is actually starting to give you a bit of a curved shape. So you want to make sure when you fold this flap up, you don't just fold it so that this is nice straight in line here. You want to fold it so that it gives you the letter N, or something closely resembling that. Clip that down. We'll do the same thing for all 4 sides. So we can see that side there, and all we want to do is actually sew straight from the top there, do a back stitch all the way across, come back down onto the other side. Okay, and so you can see that this mask is now starting to look a little bit more like a mask. Right, we're going to sew our zigzagged edges down, or our N-shaped corners. Remove your clip, and we just want to sew beside the stitching line. If you sew it right on the stitching line, it's just a little bit too bulky for most machines. Just stitch beside it. It's really just about tacking this down to form the shape. Backstitch. And I like to do a double stitch along here because there is quite a lot of bulk. You don't need to come off the edge and stop your thread. You can just continue to sew all the way down. And when you get to the other side, backstitch just to get the bulk of it stitched down, and backstitch, and do the same for the other side. So trim off your threads, and that's just stitched nicely all the way down on the front. So there we go, we've got a 3-layered mask, 100% cotton on the inside and the outside, and the showerproof fabric that I've been using on the inside. So nice and comfortable, you can still breathe through this, and really, really quick to sew. Elle's decided he's feeling a little bit silly and can't quite decide which mask he wants to wear. He's got a few to choose from. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Good luck making your masks. Stay safe, stay well, stay away from other people, and you won't get sick. See you next time.